Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I hope you are doing well. Today is Tuesday, July 29th, and a bit of a red day today, but Bitcoin, as we can see, has remained rather resilient. It seems like it just takes a step up and then may plateau for a while, but we haven't really experienced any major dips since the beginning of this bull run, which is quite noteworthy. If we're talking about the indices today, the Russell was down 0.64%, the Dow Jones was down 0.46%, S&P was down 0.3%, and the Nasdaq was down 0.2%. A bit of, I guess, hesitation from investors and waiting to see what transpires from the Fed meeting tomorrow. I can tell you what I think will transpire from the Fed meeting. We will not get a rate cut, obviously. And the Fed chair, in his remarks, will keep his options open. He's not going to really lean in any particular direction. So there you have it. That's what's going to happen tomorrow, inshallah. When we talk about individual stocks, you can see here just a sea of red. Missed MicroStrategy was down 2%. Tesla was down 1%. Tesla is another name that has been rather resilient, even after their earnings, which a lot of people thought. By the way, I don't put too much into technical analysis, but if you see this pattern where it's kind of coiling up, it is getting ready for a big pop. It's almost, a textbook pattern here where you have the price coiling up for a while now, and so a pop, I think, is, if you're into technical analysis, the fundamentals suggest a pop as well, but the technicals are also kind of aligning on that. Bitdeer is down 5%. If you look at things like more speculative plays like CRISPR, down 7%. Yeah, gold is flat, silver is flat. Bitcoin is trading hands at 117,500. So again, very resilient price from Bitcoin. And I think that there's a lot more to go for Bitcoin. As I've mentioned on this live before, I think a $200,000 price for Bitcoin this year, 2025, is I would say I expect us to reach that level, at least very close to it. Now, let's talk about some of the strong signals that we're getting from different assets that we follow. Pudgy Penguins we've been bullish on Pudgy Penguins since before it was cool, since January. This coin has outperformed all of the top 50 for the last 90 days. It's up 237%. So pat on the back to yours truly for identifying this token early. If you look at Bitcoin over the last 90 days, it's up 21%. And if you look at the Fear and Greed Index, we have fallen back in terms of greed. We were in the mid 70s. Now we're at 63. This is the CoinMarketCap Greed and Fear Index. And yet, if you look at this gray line right here, that's the price of Bitcoin. You see that the greed has receded, but the price of Bitcoin has remained very resilient. I think this is really a strong signal for what is happening behind the scenes for Bitcoin. So what this is telling us is that there is a constant bid that is forming for Bitcoin that really is independent from fear and greed sentiment in the market. So you have institutions, treasuries, sovereigns, all accumulating Bitcoin regardless of price, regardless of market sentiment. And that really bodes well for its argument as a reserve asset. And as it relates to Bitcoin, if you look at this blue line right here, that represents the M2 global supply, global money supply, that is. And this black line represents the Bitcoin price. And the M2 growth year over year is obviously positive. It has been positive for a long time. In fact, it's only negative for very short periods of time and quickly flips positive. And Bitcoin has acted like a barometer for global liquidity. And there has been a delay basically between uh, the growth in liquidity and the growth in the price of Bitcoin. But the pattern has held actually pretty tightly. And even if you just eyeball it, you can see when M2 global money supply is falling, eventually, with a lag, the Bitcoin price falls. When it picks up again, the Bitcoin price picks up again, and that is really promising. Looking at the next few months, we can see M2 global money supply has really risen sharply as of late. And yet the Bitcoin price hasn't really followed yet. I do believe this is one of the reasons why I suspect the 200,000 Bitcoin price is in play in 2025. We haven't really seen Bitcoin price move that dramatically. And so I do think that that is coming up. I don't know if it's in the next week or two or month or two, but I think, definitely within the next, I'd say 6 months maximum, we're going to get a big shoot up in price here for Bitcoin. Now, moving on to another of our favorite assets. I mentioned this in my review of Tesla's earnings. So this is really exciting and kind of speaks to the uniqueness of Tesla as a company and the many businesses that it is set to dominate in, and the many industries that it's set to dominate in. So Elon Musk said he had a video call with Samsung chairman to discuss a chip partnership. He confirmed Tesla will work closely with Samsung to improve manufacturing efficiency and help speed up progress. And it was mentioned that Tesla's A6 chip, AI6 chip, the AI5 is coming out 2025 and 2026. Their next version, AI6, could enter mass production in 2027. So they're actually sort of waning off their dependency on NVIDIA chips. And obviously, the first consumer of their chips will be Tesla itself. But I wouldn't, be too imaginative to suggest that Tesla eventually gets into the business of selling the chips that it manufactures. And so that I don't even want to talk about the potential addressable market there. So many things in the pipeline for this company, and it's as we saw in their earnings, and this sort of reflected itself in its income. But if you're just looking at top and bottom line, you wouldn't see this. But they are still aggressively investing in research and development. Very important for companies to do so, to remain on the bleeding edge. Tesla, it seems, has not lost its edge. And more good news out of Tesla, which, by the way, their stock price has been super resilient as well, even despite earnings, which were expected, admittedly, to be kind of weaker. But despite that, despite the market today being down, and other tech names being down substantially, it's the price has been really resilient. Prior to earnings, it was at 330, dropped to close to 300. It maintained the 300 level, and then it popped back up to 320. So really impressive there. And Tesla's refreshed Model Y was the best-selling SUV in China last week. So for all those people who like to say that Chinese companies are going to eat Tesla's lunch. I, I mean, even in China's backyard, it seems like Tesla is giving automakers a run for their money. Model Y, as I mentioned, best-selling SUV in China, and oh, by the way, the affordable uh, model is on track to come out in Q4. That's going to substantially help their sales, not only in China but also in Europe, which are used to cheaper, smaller cars. And it is said that Tesla's more affordable Model Y is entering final assembly at Giga Shanghai. So a lot of catalysts ahead for this company. I really think that you want to have this company. You're not investment advised, but you want to have exposure to this company for sure. All right, we have a full week ahead, the Fed meeting and interest rate decision, which I already told you what's going to happen. That happens tomorrow. Look for the Fed chair to keep their options open. June PCE inflation, that comes out on Thursday. July report will come out Friday. ISM manufacturing will come out on Friday. These reports will tell us a lot about the state of the economy. In some respects, it makes sense for the Fed meeting to be after these reports because that would inform the remarks a lot. But if we're looking at the inflation picture, true inflation suggests that U.S. inflation is at 2%, which is the target of the Fed. So, I mean, I don't think we're too far off from where the Fed's target is. We may get, 3% or something like that, but 2%, what's 1% between friends, as I always say. Now, this is very important. This really, because I don't really know when the Fed cut is going to happen. But what matters to me is that the hike chances are zero. And so long as the hike chances are zero, then I'm bullish, then I'm aggressive. Now, this is how I've managed my money, managed the money of clients. If so long as the monetary policy, we're not even talking about restrictive, then I'm gung ho about being aggressive, and earnings are coming in very strongly for companies that we follow, and just across the board, it does seem like earnings are doing well. In September, right now, the market is pricing in a 34% chance of keeping rates the same, 64% chance of cutting. And maybe that changes, maybe it doesn't. But so long as the hike chances are zero, then I'm comfortable being in this market and being aggressive as well. Join PIF. Our new upgraded course should come out soon, inshallah. We're working on it. That's what I was working on yesterday. Sorry for not being able to go live. But we are here now. If you enjoyed this live, do leave a like. We'd really appreciate that. And with that, let's go to questions. Der Namto. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Nice to see you, Rashad. Nice to see you, Mr. 972. Wa alaikum salam. Wa alaikum salam. Be a humble. Rashad says, do you have a specific sector that you might be interested in once a trade deal with China is secured? Well, it was positive that they delayed tariffs for another 90 days, I think. I think that there are a lot of perhaps not Chinese companies, but international companies that are very attractive that I think behoove one to take a look at. Talking about PEs of 1 or 2, specifically Turkey, South Korea. So that's really of interest to me. And so we'll see. Perhaps we make a move on one of those soon. Rami, salam alaikum. Nice to see you. It's been a while. Pakhtun Basha says, salam alaikum rahmatullah. Wa alaikum salam. Are we seeing our crypto portfolio going down in August? It's tough to say. Like I said, everything suggests that something like Bitcoin and eventually altcoins will follow are positioned very well for even further appreciation. So, whether we have a dip in August. August hasn't been kind to us in the past 2 years. Perhaps we see a repetition of that. I mean, a lot of times, people are on vacation in August. They're away from their desks. Trading volumes, maybe lower. People may be busy doing other things. So maybe there is a bit of a pullback in August, but for the rest of the year, we're looking pretty darn good. But Rakan, is it time to get rid of in-profit medium conviction plays and rotate into Tesla? I'm only on 19 shares and don't want to miss out. It's a good thought, brother. I think it's always a good idea to get rid of mid conviction plays and in place of the higher conviction ones. I think especially if you're younger and you can take the volatility. I'm always a fan of consolidating into your highest conviction plays. Don't go too overboard. But, maybe have a few high conviction names, but yeah, getting rid of mid conviction in order to consolidate more into high conviction, which is what we did, by the way, a few weeks back. And maybe we do a bit more of that. But generally, as a strategy, I think that's a good one. Are there any asset classes outside of stocks and companies you are interested in? I love stocks so much. I mean, I don't really know why I would go into real estate or something else. Stocks are liquid. There's, public disclosures. You get audited financials. You can diversify very easily. You have the opportunity to 2, 3, 4, 5x your money in a very short period of time. So as an asset class, I'm a big fan of stocks. Suleiman, when should people stop looking at miners as an investment? I think it's a bit too early for that. I think there's probably another pump ahead for miners, but it depends on which miners. I like our selection, specifically Bitdeer. I think that Bitdeer, they have their hand in a number of different industries, and they seem to be doing very well in execution, especially as it relates to their Bitcoin mining rigs and efficiency and cost and vertical integration of their Bitcoin mining operations. And so, if you do a pretty sandbag discounted cash flow for this company's future cash flows, expected future cash flows, it does seem like it's trading at a good valuation. So eventually the market should reflect that, inshallah. Any thoughts on Akash network? I've heard about Akash a lot. I have a limited interest in utility tokens, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, maybe if it hits my radar a few more times, I'll take a look. The calm nature sound. Rakan, do you think Bitdeer will reach 25 USD? Yeah, I do think so. Obviously, there may be some dilution ahead. So, ask me market cap more than a share price, but eventually, I think it will. Look at it, insider ownership is pretty good as well. So there's alignment of incentives there. Anyone recommend decent Sharia trade platform? Well, most platforms are, I would say, fine from a Sharia perspective. Just make sure you're not trading using margin. Harun says, Assalamu alaikum, everybody. IOS Energy got a dip today. Do you think it's still wise to buy the dips? Thank you, Rakan. Always appreciate your opinions. Yeah, I mean, IOS is a high quality asset. And I do think that the dip today is not indicative of sort of a secular trend. Maybe we keep in mind we're at all-time highs for basically all of the indices, so a bit of a pullback is nothing to really freak out about. But as I mentioned, I mean, you have to simplify your analysis and have certain heuristics that you go to. And one of those heuristics for me is when engaging, when to be aggressive versus conservative. One of those heuristics is to look at monetary policy and what I suspect is the next move. Next move for me is, I don't, as far as I can see, is either sideways or down for interest rates. And sideways or down means aggressive. Sideways or up means you need to be conservative. And so sideways and down, that means I'm still in buy the dip territory. What's the long-term play with Bitcoin? Hold forever? Well, um, for now, I think that holding is a good strategy. For now, I think that holding is a good strategy. I mean, some people say, yeah, buy and hold forever. I'm just not sure about the, ultimately it is a technology. And so with technology, there comes, certain threats that may impact its viability over time. And so that's something to keep in mind. And so it is a technology, it requires a network in order to remain a going concern, if you will. And so, but for now, as far as I can see, then Bitcoin is a hold, inshallah. All right. So, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this live. Make sure to leave a like if you did. Until next time, take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum and peace be upon you all.